Smile a bit each day and put a little smile away, collecting interest in the laughter bank for a rainy day. There'll be no penalty or fees, and all transactions are a breeze, because the tellers, they all know me.
Just one smile you owe me.
If you can smile a bit each day and put a little smile away, collecting interest in the laughter bank for a rainy day, you'll see your benefits accrue when the whole world smiles with you, because you light the way with a smile.
Is this good?
Wider.
Smile. My face hurts from smiling. Smile a day.
Good afternoon, and welcome to a very special quarantine edition of the Gefilte Chronicles, the musical. My name is James Higgins, and I'm the pianist, the arranger, and the producer of this afternoon's event. Iris Burnett and Maddie Selman, the authors, about 3 weeks ago, wrote me with this crazy idea to do a live Zoom version of the show. The technology isn't quite there to actually sing and play piano live from different locations across the country. So what you're going to see in just a second is like a hybrid of sorts. We gathered a remarkable group of actors, some old friends and some new to the Gefilte family, and we performed the dialogue live in Zoom, and the solo songs were pre-recorded by the cast in their living rooms, their kitchens, or with a sumptuous backdrop. The group numbers are taken from a demo that we did way back in 2012, and we edited it together with some footage, pictures and videos from the 8 productions and readings that we have done over the years. So grab a glass of Manischewitz, sit back and enjoy the Gefilte Chronicles.
The year is 1957, a time when men wore bow ties, women wore rouge, and children in certain families were expected to perform before, during, and after a Passover Seder. A light hits Jake Dubroff, an uncle in a bow tie, who stands at a Seder chair and speaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, I stand before you proudly to present for the first time ever my little niece, Rebecca. Hold the applause. Rebecca Dubroff, answering that perennial question, why on this night do we eat strange fish?
One Friday night in Minsk, the moon was shining bright. On the Dnieper was a feeling of intense delight. The wind had shred my sails, my boat was swaying so. The currents were confused which way to flow. On such a night as this, and looking very sharp, appeared a handsome though somewhat nearsighted little carp. And though he knew enough to stay away from hooks, he could not resist one fish's looks. She jumped out of the Dnieper, pink fins, a real high stepper. Oh, what a dainty little white fish she! The little fish had fallen deep in love. It must have been a match made up above. One Friday night in Minsk, the universe stood right, and these two fish collided at the speed of light. A mushy thing appeared, and it should be their fate to wind up forever on a Seder plate. Pinkish stew broth, that's me. My boat soon overturned. I would have drowned for certain. This is what I learned. An unknown glob was found, like a flotation vest, which had expanded and then stuck right to my chest. That's when the Tsar's militia went through all of his fish and tasted the glob upon his head. This would be good with a horseradish. He filtered white and carp, it was delish, and that's why it's called Gefiltered fish.
Curtain opens on the rest of the Dubroffs sitting at the Seder table. It is still 1957. The sisters join the family. Present are 11-year-old Rebecca Dubroff Katz, her mother Goldie, and her father Sid, her aunts Basha and Pearlie, and her uncles Jake and Larry.
Uncle Jake, what happened to Pincus?
Oh, well, he had a bad heart and ended up in Florida with Tante Fritzy.
Florida, but Tante Fritzy's dead.
Jake, you had to bring up Florida.
Rebecca, one thing you should know about our family is that the Dubroffs never die. Instead, when one of us has no pulse, stops breathing, and God forbid stops eating, we just tell people they went to Florida.
God be willing, you'll be 120 before Florida.
What? Florida's a state. Its capital is Tallahassee. It was discovered by Ponce de Leon.
Oh, with brains like that, Rebecca takes after her Aunt Basha.
Excuse me, did you hear that beautiful diction? She's got talent, just like a certain aunt of hers.
Uncle Jake, were the Cossacks in Florida?
Oh, yes, and there still are. Cossacks all over the place. You can't take one step off Delray Beach and you're back in Mr. Gubernia, where you came from.
Where who came from?
You, me, Ponce de Leon, all from Mr. Gubernia.
Stop telling crazy stories.
Ponce de Leon was Jewish?
All the great discoverers were. Napoleon Bonaparte, Columbus was Jewish. And we all come from the same place.
Life began in Russia, some protoplasm with an orgasm.
If your ego swollen, you probably came from Poland.
Life began in Russia with the Dubroffs, that's where we all come from.
Not the Stroganoffs, not the Romanovs, none of them were ever good enough. Dubroffs, Dubroffs, do.
Uncle Jake, didn't you just say that we came from Mr. Begonia? Then didn't you say a Cossack died in Florida?
Rebecca, please, don't talk about Florida. You'll understand Florida when you're older.
Jake, put out that cigar. There's no air in
All
here.
right,
Put
you
it
don't
out.
gotta be so theatrical about everything.
Uncle Jake, where is Mr. Begonia?
Forget Mr. Gabonia. First, we left Egypt and went to Brooklyn. Abe and Minnie Dubroff immigrated from Russia, where life began to get a little glum.
After 17 pogroms.
Life began in Russia with the Dubroffs, that's where we all come from.
First in Petersburg, then to Pyatigorsk, then to Chelyabinsk, then to Krasnodar.
Petropavlovsky Kamchatsky.
Then we got the apartment on Dumont Avenue above Yazadi's butcher shop.
Oh, don't forget Basha's big wedding at the Falls View in Allenville.
Forget the wedding of the century.
Eddie Cantor sang Milton Berle.
Sophie Tucker sang My Yiddish Mama. Give me a kiss.
Uncle Jake, were the Cossacks at the wedding?
No Cossacks. Carved swans made of ice and geisha girls.
Geisha girls.
Life began in Russia with the Dubroffs.
You're in the mood for Jewish food. Life began in Russia with the Dubroffs, that's where we all come. You don't have to risk it, you will find a better brisket. And even Marty Google couldn't make a better Google. Welcome to the Dubroff Home.
The Dubroffs return to their seats around the sumptuous table.
Rebecca, go help Grandma with the fish.
Grandma! Grandma!
Lights dim on the Seder table. Young Rebecca exits as we are transported to the present. Adult Rebecca enters.
Grandma? Where is everybody? They were just here and then they all just disappeared. Where's Uncle Jake? Me and Uncle Jake were like that. Aunt Basha, her wedding at the Falls View. Aunt Pearlie, the revolutionary poet. Ma with her gold earrings. They were just here. I knew this day would come. Let me illuminate. One day your mother's gone. Her life you celebrate. And yet it's just a life. It's nothing more or less. I think she lived it well, as she knew best. And yes, it's just a life, but she led me through the illusions. Gone are the plans you've made, part of the big charade that's yours. To be without her, yet to go on, to make her prouder. You sing it louder. I knew this day would come, part of our earthly design. Oh my, you gotta know, though you're not here, I'll be fine. You know it's just a life, a crazy mixed up clown, hoping to sail through yours on eider down, crashing and loving life, a sad and wondrous life, and over much too soon. It's just a life.
Madison, Rebecca's daughter, enters.
Madison, can you go downstairs and bring up Zadie's recipe box and that stack of Haggadahs? They should be someplace on the shelf by the boiler.
Mom, sit down a second. You're in no shape to do a Seder. Who are you going to invite? Everyone's dead. I mean, you told me that you were going to pick up Grandma's things and go to the Poconos and stay with your literary agent for a week.
I don't know what I was thinking. I have to do the Seder. All these boxes. My mother's whole life is packed away in these boxes. They're filled with her entire life. All our family stories and craziness are in these boxes. I'm supposed to give our entire family to Goodwill? Look at this. Phone books, scrapbooks, 15 photo albums with instructions on whose head needs to get cut out.
Your family was so dramatic. When anyone got divorced or even just a little annoyed at someone, out come the scissors and their heads get cut out of every picture. The albums look like Swiss cheese.
What are you looking at?
You? I don't want you to get lost in the past, Ma, and I don't want that either. Grandma's gone and nothing can bring her back. I just think that you should open that door and walk into the future. That's what I want. As much as I love Bhutan, there's nothing here for us anymore. I'll bring up the Haggadahs and Zadie's recipes, and then I'm going to call the storage place and have them pick up this stuff.
Exit Madison. Enter Ruby Wexler, an eccentric photographer dressed from another era.
What's all this?
Who are you?
Who am I?
How did you get in?
The door. I'm Ruby Wexler, the photographer. Bhutan portraits, Jefferson Avenue. I haven't been here in years. By the way, do you know that I took every Seder picture ever made in this house? And I could tell you who was sitting where and what gave them heartburn. Your Uncle Jake sat right over there, and your Aunt Basha right here next to you. And over there, your mother, Goldie, and your Aunt Pearlie. Hi, what a fabulous woman she was.
Ruby starts rifling through the boxes.
My albums must be around here someplace. After all, I did every single bris, bar mitzvah, anniversary, even your Aunt Basha's wedding of the century.
You did Aunt Basha's wedding at the Falls View in Ellenville?
It might as well have been.
What do you mean it might as well? That's where I know you from. Your name, Ruby Wexler, is stamped across everyone's face.
That's because my proofs were so good, no one ever ordered any prints. They just kept the proofs. Why should we pay? We know what we look like. Rebecca, the reason I'm here, I promised your Aunt Pearlie I'd keep this until, well, when they were all...
From his satchel, he removes a book wrapped in brown paper and tied with blue ribbon and hands it to her.
That's Aunt Pearlie's journal. How did you get it? So Now You Know, by Pearl Louise Dubroff. I remember my mother talking about this. They knew Aunt Pearlie kept a journal, but after she went to Florida, blessed memory, no one could find it.
Her instructions were that I give it to you. She said, Rebecca is most like me.
That's what they all said. She takes after me. No, she takes after me. I was like a little crumb of everybody's personality plate. This is amazing. I feel like she's standing right here in the room next to me.
Lights now come up on Goldie, Basha, and Pearlie. It's 1943.
Oh, the War Department is encouraging young women to wear white cotton socks instead of silk stockings, as silk is needed to make parachutes. How alluring.
Yeah, and last week they said no more Indian rubber clasps on girdles. They want you to hold them up with chewing gum.
Ugh. Well, I've decided that for my big day next week, I am renting my wedding dress. And for that one day, war or no war, I am wearing silk stockings. After the reception at the Falls View, I'll take them off and send them to General MacArthur.
I can't believe you would wear a wedding gown that someone else has worn.
Oh, they launder them first, Goldie.
Pearlie writes in her journal. Goldie mugs in a hand mirror. Basha stares at her hands, then at the empty Jergens lotion bottle. She turns to Goldie.
Goldie, there's not one drop of Jergens lotion left. Not one drop.
There was nothing in it to begin with.
Oh, we came empty from the drugstore, huh? You're hiding something. Oh my God. You tell me those aren't my good nylons.
Okay. These are not your good
Oh,
nylons.
take them off! Pop's friend Ira Lubin smuggled those out of Paris for my wedding date, and if you think I'm gonna risk you putting a run in them...
Please, Bosh, my Rembrandt is coming over to take me to Radio City. He said he's got a big surprise for me, so I gotta look good.
Well, you're gonna look good with a black eye.
Please, don't touch the hair, all right? I'll take them off.
Yeah, they better be folded nicely in the chiffon by the time I get back. And don't forget to polish the silver. Oh, and make sure the glasses don't have any finger marks. I have waited my whole life for this moment to arrive when I can finally walk down the aisle at the Falls View and have my dream wedding. And I don't want anything or anyone messing it up. Oh, I'm gonna be late for my hair appointment. My wedding is a week from yesterday and I have a list from here till tomorrow.
Death that struck when I was most confiding in my certain faith of joy to be.
What are you talking about?
Death by Emily Bronte.
How could we be twins? The stork must have delivered you to the wrong house.
Basha's marrying Larry next week.
I called Basha's cream-colored two-piece and her high heels from Kleins. I'm dying.
You can wear what you want. The wedding has to be tomorrow.
Basha's pregnant?
No, nothing like that. At 4:30 this morning, her Larry's standing in the driveway looking like he's just touched the third rail.
Basha, darling, I destroyed your dreams and ruined your life. But with the money I'll inherit from Grandma Figahenya, we'll create royal handbags, a pocketbook dynasty out of the ashes of our love. And all I ask in return is that you forget your dreams of getting married next week at the Elegant Falls View in Ellenville and instead marry me tomorrow in downtown Brooklyn, preferably in traffic so you can throw me under a bus.
The memory ends, and Pearlie and Goldie are back.
So he hands me a copy of his grandmother's will. You know, his grandmother Figahenya went to Florida last week. Well, they read her will after the service, and it stipulates that Larry will inherit $30,000. Oh, wait, he only gets the money if he signs the ketubah, you know, the wedding license, on the anniversary of her Milty's birthday. And his birthday is tomorrow.
Her late husband?
No, he's not late, Goldie. He's not coming.
Tomorrow?
The ketubah has to be signed by both Larry and Basha in front of a rabbi before sunset tomorrow night, where the money goes to Beth Pishka School for Smart Girls.
Smart girls? Everyone leaves their money to the Beth Pishka. Meanwhile, the director rides around in a Bentley. But Basha's wedding, how can they get married? I mean...
No, I know, that's why I'm telling you. I can't tell Basha, and I had to tell somebody.
What do you mean? We have to tell Basha.
If we tell her that Larry is even considering canceling the Falls View, the most important thing in the history of our family.
You know how much this means to Mama and Papa.
Of course I do. It's like the dipstick in their Oldsmobile of success. And if Larry, who drives a Plymouth, ruins this for them, she'll never speak to him again.
She'll lock herself in a room and never come out.
And do you know what that means for us? She's our sister. And we have to do anything we can to get her out of this house.
All we have to do is figure out a way to get her and Larry to sign the ketubah. Tomorrow. Oh my God.
Goldie and Pearlie exit. Basha, newly coiffed, enters carrying a little wedding keepsake box that has lace, the cake figures, and an ashtray from the Falls View. She opens the box, touches the lace to her cheek, and looks at the cake figures.
2 figures on a cake. What plans will you make forever? You 2 hold the key to our family. They said you have to leave your home, and in the darkness you will roam. 2 leaves on a tree blown across the water. A twig, a sprout, a hope, a doubt, a wish upon an unknown daughter. Grandmother, I'll wear your lace. I touch it, I see your face. 2 figures on a cake. What dreams did you make and sky. Now, my love, it's you and I.
Enter Pearlie.
Fair land of blossoms and waving palm, of winds soft laden with sweet rose balm, fair land whose orange groves invite the golden sun's resplendent light, whose countless birds their paeans sing, till earth and sky, yeah, everything must ring, oh, Florida.
Emily Dickinson, you're not.
It's Pearl Louise Dubrow.
Oh, okay.
I'm practicing for somebody's wedding reception. It's meant to elicit a river of emotion.
Talking of rivers, put in Mom's fish order with Sally. It's getting late. He's the only one with good fish.
Good fish. Anyone who writes I put the carpe diem on the side of his truck is a little suspect to me.
And don't forget, we want a double order of the live carp and live whitefish. I'm filling the tub upstairs for Papa. As soon as he finishes taking his bath, make sure Sally puts the fish into the tub. Oh, and make sure he gives us extra heads and bones for the broth. We have to have enough for a Seder and the wedding. Oh.
The wedding. Yeah. Bosh, I really need to discuss something with you.
So, what? What? It better not be about my wedding.
Oh.
Talk! Talk!
Oh, gotta stop yelling at me. It's important. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe it can wait.
I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling. Talk. Wait, it's something. It's nothing. Make up whatever half a mind you have, will ya?
Basha and Pearlie exit. Goldie appears in a light. Her eyes are closed. Sid hovers in the shadows. We see he's wearing an army uniform.
Sid, I'm dying here.
Keep them closed. Okay. Open. I did it, babe. I really did it.
Oh, my God. When were you going to tell me? You were just going to spring it on me? What about our plans, huh? The big job you'll get as a designer for the movies.
They'll just have to be on hold for a little while. Oh, sweetie, I wanted to tell you yesterday, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. We knew this might happen. And guess what? Me and Bummy Frankel, we ended up enlisting the same day.
Really? Oh, Sid.
We met in our birthday suits down at the Physical on Whitehall Street.
When do you leave?
Next week, I take a bus down to the city and then a train down south.
I'm proud of you.
We talked about this, hon. I gotta do my part. But you know, wherever I go, wherever I am, you're always right here.
Far away without a way to reach you. You'll have to know that I'll always be here when I go to war. When I go to war, the mail may come, you may not get a letter, but darling, don't always think the worst.
When I get back home, we're gonna make it all legal.
Just come back home.
We'll do everything we planned. We'll take that streamliner to Los Angeles, and I'll get a big job in one of those big Hollywood studios. All for you.
They kiss. She hands him the handkerchief she has tucked in her bra. A spotlight picks up Basha and Larry as they enter. He's walking quickly ahead of him, and he's trying to get her to slow down so he can talk to her.
Basha, please, can you talk a second?
Is it about Mother Pearl the caterer and the smoked fish order? I told him a quarter pound of lox is too much for a bagel, but an eighth is too little.
Shouldn't Mother Pearl know these things?
Well, you leave it up to the caterers and they overbuy. It's not their money.
Darling, I've got to talk to you about...
You too? What is this, a deli counter where you take a number? Talk.
It's just a little something about the wedding, and...
What are we talking about? We're talking about the wedding. I am trying to put in the lox order. Is what you are telling me more important than my wedding lox?
I don't think a quarter pound of lox is too much. Cousin Herman goes through a plate of Nova like a whale. But I don't want you to worry. I'll calculate the difference between a pound of sable and a pound of whitefish, then multiply the number of guests and divide by Cousin Herman.
See, this is why I love you. You look pale, darling. I have a meeting with Mother Pearl to give him the latest figures. Why don't you go upstairs and take a nap?
Basha exits. Larry stands for a moment, resigned, then...
Harley!
The doorbell rings. Enter Jake, Pearlie, and Ruby Wexler.
I'm always happy to be here in the Dubrov home, even though it's never been my highest paying job.
Yes, well, Mr. Wexler, that's why we especially wanted to thank you for taking the time from your very busy...
Mr. Wexler, you know that we had planned to pick you up next week to shoot the wedding in Allenville?
We need you to take the picture before, Bucky.
We need you to shoot the rehearsal tomorrow.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm shooting a bar mitzvah boy in Bensonhurst, then knocking off a bris in Canarsie.
Mr. Wexler, Asha has to get married tomorrow. Tomorrow, do you hear me?
They heard you in the Bronx.
Larry enters.
It's no good. It's no good.
Larry, calm down. Just calm down. We're working this out.
Ruby, please, you've got to shoot the rehearsal tomorrow. Basha and Larry have to sign the ketubah before sunset.
Mr. Broff, may I call you Pearlie?
You can call me chopped liver, just as long as you shoot the rehearsal tomorrow.
Chopped liver, where would I even shoot them on such short notice?
You can shoot me right now. It's no use.
Jake, will you please get him out of here?
Larry, come on down to the cellar with me and help me carry up some beets.
Mr. Wexler, the Union Club is all set up. It's the Union Club is in Beacon, and there's a catering hall in the back. And I know Eddie Goldfarb, the manager, and it would just be
Mr. Wexler.
And it's been so good to see you, Mr. Wexler. Now, don't forget your hat now. Bye. Woo! Oh, he's such a nice man.
What was Ruby Wexler doing here? You are up to something.
What? Oh, Ruby Wexler was just stopped by to tell us that the congregation gave Papa a gift of a free wedding photo session tomorrow at the Union Club.
Photo session? Tomorrow? That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard.
Well, you don't have to do it if you don't want to, Bosh. I mean, it's just a gift from the congregation to Papa. It's okay. I'm sure it won't hurt Papa's feelings. Nah, not to worry. Put it out of your mind.
What mind?
Basha exits. The phone rings. Goldie answers it.
Hello? Who? Mr. Goldfarb. Is this Eddie? It's Goldie Dubroff. Oh, gee. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Oh, I understand. Oh, okay. Goodbye. Pearlie, the boiler exploded at the Union Hall. The piano is floating in 4 feet of water.
Oh, what are we gonna do?
What do I care? Floating pianos, weddings, fish heads. Sid's leaving.
Pearlie puts a sisterly arm around Goldie and they exit. Lights come up on Rebecca and Ruby, back in the present. Rebecca lifts her eyes from the journal and looks at Ruby.
My poor mother. Oh, she must have been so heartbroken. No wonder she didn't let him leave Newburgh.
What?
Have you ever heard of Ben-Hur?
I don't follow the pictures much. But why don't you look ahead a little bit? Here, try the Seder of, what was it? 1957.
Rebecca reads from the journal.
Everybody who's ever been in show business found their first captive audience around the Seder table. Little Rebecca, my darling niece, didn't need much encouragement before the Seder of 1957. I think I'm going to skip this chapter, Mr. Wexler. Tapping was never my strong suit.
Oh, but just stick with it for the first few pages.
Adult Rebecca shrugs and returns to the journal as young Rebecca appears in a light next to her, also trying to do a time step. She looks up at adult Rebecca and shakes her head as if saying, "That's nearly as pathetic as mine." Pearlie enters, holding a photo album and cutting into a portrait.
Take that, Irving Lipschitz. Now you'll see what it's like to live without a head.
What are you doing, Aunt Pearl?
Oh, it's nothing, sweetie. Just some jerk I was dating doesn't deserve to be in a Dubroff photo album anymore. You know, we cut out their heads. You ready for the Seder?
I'm not performing this year. I'm a failure and a disaster, and I hate potato kugel.
Whoa. No one hates potato kugel, okay? Sweetheart, you're a Dubroff. You can eat anything. You just have to respond to your inner voice.
My what?
The voice that calls you from deep within your soul. This is where poetry lives, where Isadora Duncan learned to dance. It's the same voice that one hears in preparing food. Close your eyes, close them, and listen to the voice that will call to you. It's like when you're dying for a slice of moist chocolate cake. Do you hear it, darling?
Yes, Aunt Pearlie.
And what's it saying, my love?
Duncan Hines?
Yes, of course. The voice is giving you the recipe to success.
It is?
Measure your ingredients and move some expedients. It's nice to set the table in advance. You know, if you can crack an egg, then baby, you can shake a leg. The music in the food can make you dance. Tap a little recipe. The palate is never off key. It's all in the prep. Just follow the steps, intuitive as you may be. Tap a little recipe, and I personally guarantee you'll get applause for your applesauce, encores for your fricassee.
Oh, Aunt Pearlie, how can I tap matzo bride?
Can you tap out tapioca?
No, but I can do a polka.
Tap a little recipe. Come and tap along with me. You can mix it up and add a twist or turn. Don't leave things unattended or your pots will burn. A little inspiration and it's fun to learn when you tap. Tap a little recipe. Voila! Cherries Jubilee. In a bowl you beat an egg, so do a dip. Add some salt and pepper. Lift those toes a nice high temper. Tap a little recipe. You're making culinary history. Now we're cooking. Let's see what's for dinner. A little fruit salad from Delmonte's can. Drink an egg and toss it in a frying pan. Add a pat of butter and a dash of bread. Nothing you can eat, but it's music to our feet.
You are one nutty girl. I take after Aunt Pearl.
Tap a little recipe. Improvise cathedral Scooby-Doo-Bop if you're feeling free. Shuffle off to Buffalo while making soup.
When you chop an onion,
Do the loop-de-loop. Eggs I'm gonna poach. Tap it sotto voce.
mashing a potato.
Coffee with bravado. And tap a little recipe. And tap along with me. You can do anything you set your mind to. Self-confidence is the key when you tap a little recipe. Practice begins with what letter?
Aunt Pearlie.
P.
Young Rebecca is now back in the dining room of the house, and the Dubroffs are applauding her.
Horrific! Bravo!
Ah, my little Passover ham.
No, she's got the bug, that's for sure.
Watch out, Shirley Temple.
Hey, watch out, Roy Rogers.
I am telling you that kid is heading for the bright lights of Broadway.
Or maybe even Hollywood.
Oh.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe my little Rebecca will be the one who makes it out there.
Lucky for me, Sid, you didn't take that job. Or Regal Handbags wouldn't have our bestseller, Le Palme Court Clutch.
Okay, that was very nice, Rebecca, but we really need to get back to work in the kitchen.
They exit. Sid dons a military gas mask and begins shredding horseradish. Goldie enters holding a letter. He lowers his mask.
Sweetie, can you take a break from shredding horseradish?
I can't, hun. This is the critical stage where I mix in the beats. One false move and the Red Sea doesn't part.
Okay, but I got this letter. Look at the return.
MGM Studios.
What is it, Sid?
Dear Mr. Katz, based upon our review of your portfolio, we would like to offer you a 1-year renewable contract as second assistant background painter on William Wyler's epic motion picture, Ben-Hur. Oh my God.
Give me that. At your earliest convenience, kindly telephone the receptionist, Mrs. Irene Venom, in the office of Louis B. Meyer. Oh, darling, just we've always wanted. I can't believe it. It's so exciting. It's so wonderful. I don't even know who to tell first.
I can't do it, hun. I can't leave Newburgh. I can't leave you and little Rebecca and our whole family for a whole year.
Okay, but hon, this is your dream.
No, hun, you are my dream. I left you once when I went overseas, and I promised I would never leave you again.
He takes out the handkerchief she gave him before the war.
Oh, Rembrandt.
Hun, if I can get hired in Hollywood, I can certainly find a job in Newburgh.
Lights fade on Sid and Goldie in 1957. Lights back up on Rebecca and Ruby in the present.
I grew up thinking that my mother killed his dreams. I wish I could ask them what really happened. You never think to ask these things when they're alive.
Keep reading, Rebecca. There must be an answer in there someplace.
How do you know? Mr. Wexler, why are you doing this?
Just wait a second. I'm about to make my entrance.
The doorbell rings. We're back in 1957. Basha calls from offstage.
Can somebody get that? I've got things on the stove.
It's Ruby Wexler. Lock the door. Back up, please. He's our guest.
Good yontif, Mr. Wexler. I'm so glad you could join us for the Seder.
I'll take a few pictures when we all sit down.
Pearlie makes a grand entrance from upstairs in a magnificent cape. She stands with her arms wide open to get a hug from young Rebecca.
So what do you think?
Oh, how gorgeous, Aunt Pearlie.
Oh, Mr. Wexler, I was hoping you'd join us.
I never miss a Dubroff Seder if I can help it.
Mr. Wexler, what's inside your camera?
The entire world. Every place on earth and all the stars in the sky.
Huh?
Lights up on adult Rebecca, once again with her nose in Aunt Pearlie's journal.
And so it began. The whole house would fill up with the warm scent of roast chicken and potatoes as people arrived. Mama and Papa and Bubby and Zadie were all day in synagogue. When I was very little, my grandfather used to let me hold on to his trouser leg when he prayed with the men downstairs. That was simply never done. The women weren't allowed downstairs with the men. Sometimes he covered me up with his talas to hide me. Meine süße Kinder, he would whisper.
Lights dim on Rebecca as the scene returns to the past, the 1957 Seder. Basha enters from the kitchen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a meal to put together, and you know what Bubby says.
Don't just sit there, eat. Don't just stand there, cook.
Oh, I've got to put the cholent in the oven.
Hey, Uncle Jake, what's cholent?
Cholent. It's a historical artifact. It's petrified meat that the Israelites discovered buried in the sands of Sinai. And each Passover.
Will you please stop telling her stories?
Where's Larry?
Oh, he went to pick up the folks from synagogue. Now, come on. I need some volunteers in the kitchen.
Join the kitchen, conga line. You'll be feeling oh so fine. Grab a ladle, grab a pan, conga now.
You can do it.
In your sleep,
You could end up.
in a heap,
You can slurp it from your shoe.
conga now. Now it's kitchen conga time. It's delicious and sublime.
Cucamonga. Conga. Pound your chest like King of Conga.
That was great.
That was so good.
That's going to be stuck in my head all week.
amazing.
Can you believe this?
Yes.
What an
it is.
earworm.
You started it.
I know it was
No,
my
no, it's all you.
Whoa.
Yes, I don't. Shh. What?
What? Get your coats. That was Larry. Papa's in the hospital.
One by one, the family exits after Pearlie.
Don't worry, Pop's not going to Florida.
Oh, where's he going, Uncle Jake? Mr. Gubernia?
No, darling, not Mr. Begonia.
Please, God, find my grandpa. I think he's lost. He was last seen going to Florida, and then he went to the hospital, and now I think he's in Mr. Gubernia.
Come on, honey. It's time for bed.
What about Grandpa?
We're going to take good care of Grandpa. Now, come on. It's late. I'll go get your pajamas ready.
Goldie exits. Ruby Wexler, who has been in silhouette, steps toward young Rebecca.
Beyond the pale, beyond the border, sunshine finds its day. There grows a son, there grows a daughter, who wander off and lose their way. Mother and father of time, walking hand in hand. Two rivers join at the edge of the known world. Where can you find them, all who have gone before? What is the name of that distant shore? Mr. Gubernia, oh Mr. Gubernia. Beyond the pale, beyond the border, sunshine finds its day. There grows a son, there grows a daughter, who wander off and lose their way. Mother and father of time, walking hand in hand. Two rivers join at the edge of the whole world. Come with me, I'll take you there. We'll find your grandfather and bring him home. From Mr. Gubernia.
Mr. Gaboinia.
Lights up on adult Rebecca and Ruby, back in the present.
You know, Mr. Wexler, one day I actually sat down with a map and a magnifying glass and searched for Mr. Begonia. I spent over an hour trying to find it until I realized that it doesn't exist. The truth is, there is no such place as Mr. Begonia. My family made it up for their stories. The closest thing to anything real is Minsk, Gubernia. It means a suburb of Minsk, sort of the Passaic to Secaucus.
Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. Exists is a strange word.
They told me that my Zadie was going to be all right, but he wasn't all right.
We transition to 1956. Uncle Jake reads the newspaper. Young Rebecca hauls a large transistor radio from under the Seder table and hands it to Jake.
Rebecca, get that thing off the Seder table before your Aunt Basha sees it and calls the police.
She's not going to call the police.
If she doesn't, I will.
You said you were going to fix my transistor radio.
Okay, but we should be doing this in the garage, not in the house.
Well, Aunt Pearlie said that you would never step foot in the garage and you won't even screw in a light bulb.
She said that, huh?
Yep. So it could be just corrosion on the battery terminals, but if it isn't, then I'm afraid we'll have to swap out the diode on the RCA and solder it into the Motorola. But don't worry, Uncle Jake, I already checked and the impedance with the voltmeter, and guess what? It's exactly the same.
Wait a minute. Let me just look at the thing.
Hey, Uncle Jake, were you the best man at the wedding of the century?
Sorry, I can't talk to you. I don't talk to people who don't smile. You owe me already 2 guffaws, a snicker, and a chortle.
I don't want to smile.
Good. And I don't want to talk to you. Give me your pliers.
You're better off with a small Phillips head, but I just wanted to know if you were Aunt Basha's best man. So?
I think the battery's dead.
No, I mean about... Come on.
I know what you mean. The answer is... You'll have to see for yourself.
Huh? But I wasn't born yet.
Oh, that's too bad. You really missed something.
He gets up from his seat and takes young Rebecca by the hand, and slowly they start walking downstage.
Now follow me. Just close your eyes. Try to imagine the grandeur of the event. The sun is creeping through the cumulus clouds over the Catskills, shining down through the stained glass windows of the magnificent Falls View in Ellenville. You look up at the cathedral ceilings where doves have been released and are gently swaying the air with the hush of their wings. Whoosh! And below, we walk among exquisite ice sculptures of swans and cherubs. And everywhere you look, geisha girls wearing silk kimonos embroidered with the words Basha and Larry. They're handing out miniature hot dogs. Can you see it now?
A light comes up now on adult Rebecca, who sees the memory as well.
Yes.
Yes.
I see it,
I see it, Uncle Jake.
Keep your eyes closed. We'll take 2 hot dogs, please.
Is there any mustard?
Mustard for the little girl. Oh, Rebecca, isn't it wonderful? If only this moment could live forever.
Ruby appears in a light.
Even if forever only appears in a photograph.
Jake and young Rebecca exit. The light remains on adult Rebecca and Ruby in the present. Once again, she reads from the journal.
The Falls View in Ellenville. What a place. What a dream. It really was the most important thing in my sister Basha's life. Oh, I wish I could go back in time so I could be at the wedding and take part in all the preparations.
Madam, your chariot awaits you.
Lights dim on Rebecca and Ruby as Pearlie enters back in 1943, followed by Goldie and Sid.
The wanton coot the water skims, among the reeds the ducklings cry, the stately swan majestic swims, and everything is blessed but I, and maun I still to those...
Oh, crying out loud, Pearlie. Do we really need to hear Delmar Schwartz?
It's Robert Burns, in case anybody asks. And I'm just happy now that we can overlap.
Huh?
I just spoke to Shecky and Lupin, and we're doing the photo session at the Rotary Club.
Really?
Pop's a member, and Shecky's doing us a favor. Now, did you get Rabbi Bendelstein from the Falls View?
I couldn't. He wasn't free.
Well, who'd you get?
Epstein.
Excuse me? Epstein? You got Rabbi Epstein, he's legally dead!
Well, he was the only rabbi I could find on such a short notice. What do you think, they grow on a rabbi tree?
Oh, he's older than dirt. Someone's gonna have to pick him up and drop him off and then probably stay with him so he doesn't fall asleep during the ceremony. And he's gotta stay out of sight until we're ready for him.
But the ketubah gets signed before the wedding ceremony.
You can't do it that way, or else Basha will find out. She has to think it's just a photo session, not her real wedding.
Hello? Dubroff residence. Yes, Mr. Lubin. This is Miss Dubroff. Who? Oh, yes, the Rotary Club. We'll be there at, oh. Yes. Oh, goodbye. Part of the roof collapsed at the Rotary Club. The safety inspector won't allow anyone to enter.
Why is this happening? Oh, we're running out of time. What do they expect me to get them married in Pop's butcher shop?
Pearlie and Goldie slowly turn to one another. A light bulb flashes in their brains. They exit. Adult Rebecca takes the stage, reading from the journal.
Nothing on earth could ever come close to the awe-inspiring beauty and majesty of the Conquistador room at the Falls View, captured in glorious strokes and brilliant swashes of color by our very own Rembrandt, my brother-in-law, Sid Katz, who, though according to my sister Goldie never saw the place, nevertheless claimed to have painted it from memory.
Lights fade up as a backdrop unfurls across the stage, depicting the Spanish-themed Conquistador room at the Falls View Resort. Central to the depiction is a huge statue of a horse, upon which sits Ponce de Leon. Sid, Goldie, and Pearlie enter in winter coats, shivering. They look up at the ornate backdrop.
Well, there it is.
Isn't that Ponce de Leon who discovered Florida?
No wonder he died.
Not to worry. I think I can work with this. I just have to carefully frame the bride away from any hanging chickens.
It's freezing in here. Where's Rabbi Epstein? How is he arriving, by ambulance?
Close. Jake is having him picked up in Papa's delivery truck.
Oh, while he's waiting, he can kosher a few briskets.
Jake enters wearing a huge coat and gloves.
Okay, so the congregation's here. I told them that we'd feed them Dubroff gefilte fish if they participated in the photo shoot.
Good. Now, where's the groom?
Larry?
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 Larry!
Jake,
Larry?
find Larry.
I don't know.
Mama and Papa are on the way with Basha. Hurry, hurry!
Lights fade to black. The groom, Larry, appears in a light wearing a top hat and tails, and in the midst of a nervous breakdown. He is sitting in front of a mirror in the butcher shop office, sobbing. Jake enters and sees him.
I can't do it. I can't do it to her, or to me, or to regal handbags.
Hurry! Grab a hold of yourself, will you? The photographer's here. Basha's on her way over, and so's the rabbi.
I can't do it.
You have to do it. It's no big deal. You need the inheritance for your handbag business. Remember, you need to provide for my sister. Stop whining. You have no choice.
You should have told her the truth. I thought I could lie to Basha, but she'll find out and she'll kill me.
You won't have a chance because I'm going to kill you first if you don't get out of there.
Ooh, what am I going to do?
What do you mean, what am I going to do? You're going to go out there and take some pictures. You're going to sign the ketubah and you're going to get married and get the money.
Is that it?
No, there's more. You got 1 minute to pull yourself together and then I'm going to report a homicide.
Jake shoves Larry's top hat at him and exits. Larry puts the hat on his head, stares in the mirror, and slowly begins brushing back his hair. smoothing his mustache and dabbing away his tears.
They say that getting married is almost as stressful as your spouse's death. But what about watching my inheritance get donated to a school named Beth? The Beth Pishka School for Girls. Every dime of mine they're gonna get if I don't marry Basha tonight before the sun is set. So call me an inhumanitarian, call me a not-so-good Samaritan, call me a octogenarian, but the Beth Pishka School will sting. This year they won't get their new wing.
You got 30 seconds, Larry.
I need that money for the wedding, yet I can't get it and keep the plan to marry Basha at the Falls View. I'll be a wealthy but a broken man. That money could build a pocketbook empire and really start a life. Instead, I'm faced with misery and worse, an unhappy wife. So call me a dog-shy veterinarian, an illiterate librarian. Call me Robin Hood or Marian, but Beth Pishka's budget's under sting. This year the director won't get a new wing.
10 seconds, Larry. And I'm being very generous with the time here.
I gotta go in there now that my temper's hot. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tie the knot. Call me a kind-hearted barbarian. Call me Austro-Hungarian. Call me a vegetarian. Beth Pishka, you've gone too far. This year you're eating toast points without kosher caviar.
All right, come on. Rabbi Epstein is in back of the butcher shop waiting for my signal.
Oh, that's nice. Epstein. I'm feeling faint. Ooh, I'm hyperventilating.
Larry does indeed faint. Jake grabs him under the arms.
Pearlie, Goldie, come here quick!
Enter Pearlie, who is now dressed like the great Eleanor Duza. She starts fanning Larry.
Oh, pure spirit, oh, where art thou? Whisper to my soul, let the same soothing thought of thee bid a grief control.
Hey! He needs smelling salts, not poetry.
Goldie runs on, followed by Ruby and Sid.
Epstein's here. Epstein, he's here.
Oh, no, he can't be. He's supposed to wait for my signal. Goldie, keep the congregation entertained.
Gotcha.
Sid, give me a hand. Ruby, watch his head. Pearlie, grab the chuppah.
Jake, Pearlie, and Sid now use the wedding chuppah as a stretcher, trying to roll Larry's limp body onto it, and in doing so, the chuppah falls apart and Larry falls to the floor.
I tell you to buy Sears best chuppah, instead you buy the good.
They drag him into a chair and Pearlie instinctively hands him her pocketbook. The effect of holding a pocketbook is like being revived with smelling salts. Larry lovingly cradles the pocketbook and begins to come around.
Oh, the Palm Beach collection. It's so beautiful.
Basha enters in her wedding gown. They all gasp. The wedding march begins to play.
Why are you playing the wedding march? Why are all these people here?
Basha.
Don't look at me! You're not supposed to look at me!
I'm not looking.
I don't understand why we're in Papa's butcher store. It's freezing in here. This is where we're doing the photo session. Mr. Wexler.
We needed to match the lighting at the Falls View. Your father was generous.
Oh, please, enough already, enough! Will someone, I don't care who, anyone, please tell me what is going on?
Basha.
Don't look at me!
I'm not looking. I promise. Basha, the reason we're all here is because when Grandma Figaheny went to Florida, she left me $30,000. But in order to get it, we have to sign the ketubah before the sun goes down tonight.
No, the wedding isn't until next week. Don't look at me, Larry!
I'll make it up to you, I promise. Grandma Figaheny's will said we have to get married on Papa Melty's birthday, which is today. All we have to do is sign the ketubah before sunset, and I'll get a big envelope of money, and we can still get married at the Falls View sometime, and also start Regal handbags.
Jewish law says you can't get married twice in 1 week. Don't look at me.
I'm not looking.
It is a good thing, because I am so angry right now, Lawrence Hiram Yuspa. I am so angry, and I'm also hurt that you didn't tell me about this. That you thought so little of me, that you didn't think I would want you to be happy too. If you look at me, I am so angry that I will kill you.
Rabbi Epstein!
A follow spot picks up 101-year-old Rabbi Epstein, who is slowly shuffling down the aisle toward the stage, and is helped onto the playing area.
Avinu Shalom Alechem. Avinu Shalom Alechem. Avinu Shalom Alechem. Avinu Shalom 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 Alechem.
Reb Epstein, we are so honored.
I know. It's very dark in here. Point me towards the bride and groom.
You can go home, Reb Epstein. There will be no wedding tonight.
No wedding tonight. But then why are all these people standing around? Is it not for helping one to build an eternal structure on the foundation of love? I see two lives that must be joined. Let us sign the ketubah.
Rabbi, there's no reason to sign the ketubah. I'm not getting married. Even if I was, it would be next week, so there's no reason to sign.
I see. I need a little more light. May I have a candle? Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov and Who was the genius who gave 100-year-old rabbi a candle to hold? Do you smell smoke?
Hope I don't smell smoke.
Oi, 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 oi. I think her veil is burning. Oi, 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 oi. Now her dress is burning. What is one to do?
Oi, it's freezing in here.
Oh my God, the veil is on fire! Out of my way! I've got water! Out of my way! I've got liver! Oi, 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 oi! First her veil is burning. Oi, 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 oi! Then her train was smoking. Oi, 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 oi!
Wish that we were joking.
Basha's wedding day.
My hair's frozen. My hair!
Your hair? You should see your
Pearlie takes her own shawl and wraps it around Basha's head, holding Basha's head to her bosom.
By burning walls, by battered slips, galleon, frigate, and brigantine, the old dead captains fought their ships, and the great dead admirals led the line. It was England's night, it was England's sea.
Basha stares incredulously at Pearlie, then at Goldie, and Larry, and the others.
So, this is my dream wedding. This is what you wanted for me.
No, Basha, I only want what's best for you.
Hey,
I love you more than anything in the...
Shush. In the Jewish tradition, a wedding takes place under a chuppah, a wedding canopy, but I see that the chuppah is damaged, needs to be repaired. Come here, Larry, come here. Jacob, come sit, Pearlie, Basha, welcome everybody. Oof. I am Rabbi Epstein of the Brooklyn Union Synagogue. I've known you, Basha, and you, Larry, since you were born. And while I was sitting in the butcher shop office, Basha, your papa Abe showed me things that he had saved over the years. And I got some things from Larry, and I said to myself, ooh, these are parts for a chuppah. For the chuppah should be filled with symbols of your ancestors, your grandparents, Papa Milty's talit.
Rabbi Epstein dips into the shopping bag and starts removing these items. And as he does, the company members hang them on the chuppah poles.
And Tante Fritzi's yellow scarf is over there. This is Great Aunt Basha's tablecloth, who you are named for. Papa Phil's sock, there it is, over there. Nana Sophie's handkerchief, where is, it's in the pocket of the vest, because that's Great Grandpa Shmuel's vest that he came over in. He wore it on the boat over here.
All these items are assembled to create a beautiful, yet somewhat unusual chuppah.
And the chuppah also represents your home. Larry and Basha, it's portable, something you carry with you, and it's open on all four sides. And the tradition says that Abraham and Sarah's tent was open in all four directions, so they could look out for people who needed to rest their feet. So you'll make a home that welcomes people. Oof. Now the chuppah is repaired. So, this is a wedding. And a wedding needs a blessing. May the source of all this magnificent world bless the bride and groom.
Forgive me, Basha.
How can I not? Okay, let's just call this the Falls View with the ice ones and the geisha girls.
They kiss tenderly.
Oh, no shmushkiing till we break the glass.
Mazel tov!
Avinu shalom alechem. Avinu shalom alechem. Avinu shalom alechem. Avinu shalom. Shalom. Shalom alechem.
We transition back to the present. Madison enters.
Here, Ma.
Oh, thanks, sweetie. Just put them on the table.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I was just reading your great Aunt Pearlie's journal. She always kept a journal, you know. She was something else.
That's what I hear.
The doorbell rings. Ruby, dressed as a moving storage worker, rolls on a hand truck.
Shall I take these, ma'am?
Sure, take them all. But can you come back tomorrow for the table and chairs?
Why, Ma?
Tonight's the first night. This is when they had their big Seder. If I take the table, where will they all sit?
Madison puts her arm around her mother's shoulder as the Dubroffs walk on and take their seats at the Seder table. Rebecca and Madison freeze. The family looks at them with radiant hearts.
Look at that Punim. A beauty. Just like me.
And smart. Quite the poet. Like someone we all know.
What a smile lights up the room.
Madison is an avenue, not a name for a girl.
I wonder if she needs a new handbag.
Sid, can you loosen my corset?
I loosened it already. If I loosen it any further, you'll trip over it.
Hey, you two, quit gabbing and take your seats. Papa wants to begin.
Ruby enters with his camera and tripod.
Mr. Wexler.
Thank you, Ruby.
Ruby winks at Pearlie. Madison and Rebecca take their seats at the Seder table.
I would just like to say how happy I am that we are all here again this year, celebrating Passover, and God be willing, we should only continue for another 120 years.
Hi.
You know it's just a life, a crazy mixed up clown, hoping to sail through yours on either down, crashing and loving a sad and wondrous life, and over much too soon. It's just Aziz and Pesach, baby. Join the kitchen conga line. You'll be feeling oh so fine.
Grab a ladle, grab a pan, conga now.
Now it's kitchen conga time. It's delicious and sublime. There's no reason and no rhyme. Conga now. Kitchen congas in the air. You can do it anywhere. Not a bathtub, not a chair. Conga now.
There is no right or wrong.
Like they do in Cucamonga.
Pound your chest like King of Conga.